My loudest critic didn't live out there. It lived here, in my own head. I still remember staring at a client proposal late one night. The words on the page blurred together, but the voice in my mind cut sharp and clear. Not good enough. You'll mess this up. They'll see right through you. I tapped my pen against the desk, the rhythm quick and restless, like a drumbeat of doubt. Every tap echoed that inner sneer until it was louder than the silence of the room. The strangest part was how automatic it felt. I didn't need anyone else to question me. I had already built an expert critic inside myself. Every sentence I wrote, it found a flaw. Every idea I drafted, it pointed out the holes. The more I tried to push through, the louder it got. And there I sat, paralyzed, not because the proposal was impossible, but because I believed the voice. That's what negative self-talk does. It doesn't wait for mistakes. It plants them before you even start. Leoism. I caught myself whispering the critic's lines out loud, almost without meaning to. Why do I always mess this up? That question wasn't a question at all. It was a verdict. The proposal sat untouched. My pen kept tapping, and all I could hear was the same loop. Not enough. Not enough. Not enough. My loudest critic lived in my own head. Maybe you felt that too, like the harshest words come not from the outside, but from your own reflection. The danger of self-talk is how convincing it feels. In business, that critic disguised itself as professional standards. If I stumbled in a client meeting, the voice whispered, "See, you're a fraud." At home, it became silent. When I snapped at my kids after a long day, the critic said, "You're failing as a father." And in the cultural layer, it turned discipline into punishment. Raised in a community where mistakes were corrected sharply, I carried that same sharpness inside. The critic became my inheritance. Harsh, unforgiving, relentless. For years, I thought the criticism was true. I thought the endless "not enough" was a compass pointing me to improve. But it wasn't. It was a cage. Do you know that feeling? When you replay your own words after a meeting, wishing you sounded smarter? When you hear your inner voice sneer before anyone else has a chance to? When you walk into a room already apologizing in your mind for being there? That's the weight of negative self-talk. It's not discipline, it's demolition. I wish someone had told me that voice isn't the truth. It's just a habit. Because what I told myself instead was, if it's in my head, it must be who I am. And that belief made me smaller than I ever needed to be. I thought that voice was the truth. The tapping pen on my desk wasn't just noise anymore. It was the sound of a gavel, sentencing me before I had a chance to stand up. The breaking point came when I caught myself avoiding work I was more than capable of. I had the experience, I had the knowledge, but I couldn't start because the critic told me I would fail before I tried. One night, after hours of staring at the same draft, I slammed the pen down and muttered, "Why do I always mess this up?" That was the crisis cue. The words weren't just thoughts anymore. They were a curse I spoke aloud. My body showed the toll. My jaw locked tight, as if holding back the shame. My shoulders curled inward, chest heavy. My stomach knotted like I had swallowed the criticism whole, and my breath, shallow, rushed, carried the panic of someone already defeated. At that moment, I realized if I couldn't change the voice overnight, I could at least change the script. So I reached for the reset. Reset method 1 is affirmation layering. I took the critic's words, "not good enough," and replaced them softly, even if I didn't believe it yet. This draft is a step, not the whole story. I don't need perfection. I need progress. Each phrase layered over the critic, not to erase it, but to soften it. By the third line, my breath steadied. Reset. Method 2 is body scan. I unclenched my jaw, feeling the ache release, rolled my shoulders back, placed a hand on my stomach, noticing the tightness there, and breathed into it, slowly, deliberately. The critic thrived on tension. Releasing that tension weakened its grip. Reset. Method 3 is visualization. I pictured the pen tapping, the critic's drumbeat, and imagined slowing it down until the rhythm matched my breath. From frantic to steady, from condemnation to calm. And in that space, I noticed the first shift. The critic wasn't gone, but it wasn't louder than me anymore. My voice, softer, kinder, finally had a place at the table. I whispered, "Notice what changed for you, even if just a little." After that practice, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long time. Choice. I could still hear the critic, but it was no longer the only voice. I repeated the positive shift. My inner voice can coach me, not cut me. And I let those words settle. Inner voices can shift from enemy to ally. That sentence freed me, because for so long, I thought silence was the only way to escape the critic. But the truth was, I didn't need silence. I needed a transformation. The tapping pen that once judged me became something else. I picked it up, rewrote one line in the proposal, and said out loud, "This works." That moment turned the critic's sneer into encouragement. And for the first time, I smiled at my own words. But I could teach it to the coach, not condemn. Let's do this together. Think of one phrase your inner critic repeats. Maybe it says, "You're too slow," or "You'll never get this right." Now pause. Take that phrase and add a new one after it, not to erase it, but to reframe it. For example, "You're too slow, but steady still moves forward." Feel how that softens the weight. You can pair this with a simple body scan. Relax your jaw, drop your shoulders, unclench your fists. Notice how the critic weakens when the body releases. And in business, use it when a draft feels impossible. Instead of "This proposal is trash," try "This proposal is a step." At home, instead of "I snapped again, I'm failing," try "I snapped, but I can repair." And in culture, where discipline often comes wrapped in criticism, remember, discipline without compassion collapses. You need both. Even one small reframe counts. My critic still speaks, but now so does my ally. The voice in my head hasn't vanished. It's changed shape, from enemy to coach, from condemnation to conversation. Now, my voice speaks as an ally. That truth steadies me tonight, and I remind myself again, my inner voice can coach me, not cut me. So here's my reflection for you. What phrase has your critic repeated too long? And what phrase could you place beside it to turn it from enemy to ally? For me, it was one line in a proposal. For you, it might be something else. But the power is the same. Your voice can be reshaped. And before I close, I'll share my gratitude. Tonight, I'm grateful for the chance to rewrite even one sentence in my own mind. Because sometimes, that one rewrite changes everything.